Good morning, students. I would like to once again welcome you back to this series, and today we are going to be learning about subtraction. Okay, so now the topics that will be covered by this video are simple subtractions, where we have to arrange the numbers according to place values and solve them. Next, we will learn how to verify our answers, and we will also be learning some new facts about subtraction which I am sure you are not aware of as yet. Okay, and the last topic that we will be covering in this series is about subtracting when we have to regroup the numbers. Now let us start with the first, that is simple subtraction. So on the screen you are going to see that a certain number of steps are present. Okay, so the box in green shows me the 250th step. The box in blue shows me the 300th step, the orange one is my 525th step, and the pink one shows me my 700th step. Okay. Now, for this instance, let us imagine a boy Ram. Okay. He's standing on the 250th step now. Okay. And then Ram decides that he has to head to his destination. Okay. Which you can see right here. Okay. This is his destination where he wants to reach. And he decides that he has to walk up. So now Ram starts walking up and he walks up here. So now Ram is on the blue step, okay, and the blue step is the 300th step. So the question here comes, Ram climbs how many steps? Okay, so now how do I know how many steps Ram is climbing in this question? In order to solve this, before we decipher the question, we will look at how to come to a solution. I want you to pause this video right here and I want you to analyze this question, okay, and think about how I should go about solving this question. Once you've come to a solution, then you can unpause this video and look forward. So now I'm wondering how I should solve this question. Now the question comes with my first step, okay. First step, if you remember from our addition series, I said was always to understand a problem. In this question, Ram is climbing the steps. If I climb steps, should I add or should I subtract to get my answer? So right now, I want you to put yourself in this situation and imagine you're going from the first step to the third step. Okay, so I ask you, how many steps have you climbed? Are you going to answer 4? No, that's obviously the wrong answer. Okay, why? Because if I add 1 plus 3, I get 4, but I have only climbed 2 steps. Okay, let me see how do I get 2 steps. So what I'm going to do is, from the third step, I'm going to deduct the first step. 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2. Okay, that is the number of steps I have climbed. After doing the first bit, we are going to understand what comes next. So if you remember from our addition series, I'm going to explain the second step, which is all about arranging the data. Now when it comes to subtraction, I already know that I cannot write a smaller number on the top and a bigger number at the bottom. That is, I cannot subtract a bigger number from a smaller number. So always at the top I'm going to write the bigger number. So for subtraction, I always need to find which number is bigger and write it on the top. Now that I've understood how to arrange my data, I'm going to move on to my third step, okay, which is about solving the question. Now that we have arranged the data, we can come to a solution. Now subtraction is not a new deal for you. You already know what subtraction is from your previous classes. So let us look at the solution to this question. Now this question only involves 2 steps. That is why on the screen right now you see just the 2 steps, okay. Now Ram is here and he moves on to the 300th step. Now in this question, I need to understand what is the given data or what is the information which I have with me. Now the first information which I have is 250 step, because Ram was standing on the 250th step. And now he moves to the 300th step, which is my second information. Okay, so I'm going to mention these two. Now I have put my information up. Now what do I need to do? I need to arrange. Okay, as we learned before, I'm going to arrange. So now I write the bigger number. 300 is bigger, so I write 300 at the top and I write 250 at the bottom. Now these are to be subtracted. Okay, so when I subtract these two numbers, I want you to remember that we always subtract starting from the ones position as we do in addition. Okay, so I'm going to start subtracting, and I know a 0 minus a 0 is going to give me another 0. Okay, and then a 0 cannot be, a 5 cannot be deducted from this 0. So what do I need to do? Yes, I need to borrow. So I make this a 2 and 1 comes here. This becomes a 10. Now 10 minus 5 gives me 5. Okay, so I'm going to write a 5 here, and I'm left with 2 and 2, which gives me a 0. So my answer is 50. Now after writing this, you must remember that we have to finish the answer with a statement. So I'm going to write, thus Ram climbs 50 steps. Now this was a very easy solution to come to. Okay, so now let us look at something else. Now again, Ram is standing on the 700th step. Okay, he has already reached his destination and he wants to come back home now. So he decides to climb down. So from the 700th step, he now moves down and he is standing on the 525th step. Okay, now how do I know how many steps did he climb down? In order to know this, again I need to do the same 3 steps from before that we learned. First is understand the problem. So he is coming down these many steps. Do I need to add or do I need to subtract? Yes, I am going to subtract for this question. Now when I am going to subtract, first I am going to write the information which I have with me, which you see on the screen right now. After writing this information, what I need to do is arrange my data. So again I am going to find which number is bigger. Is 700 bigger or 525 bigger? Okay, now again I can see that in the hundreds place I have a 7 and here in the hundreds place I have a 5. So definitely 700 is bigger than 525. So I write 700 at the top and 525 at the bottom. Now what I will be doing is I am going to deduct this 5 from the 0. I cannot do that, so I am going to carry over. Now I can see that the next number is also a 0. So what shall I do here? I am going to take from this 7. Okay, so this 7 is going to give to the next place value. So now this 7 becomes a 6 and this is going to become a 10. Now 10 will become a 9 because it is going to give to the next place value. So this last digit becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is going to give me a 5. And then here I had a 9. So 9 minus 2 will give me 7. And this was a 6. So 6 minus 5 is going to give me 1. So I am left with my number as 175. Now I have come to the answer. So Ram has climbed down 175 steps. Now what do? I need to write the statement. So I am writing the statement, which is, thus Ram climbs 175 steps. If you were able to do this on your own, a very good job done. And let us look forward to the next fact. Okay, so now there are some things that I am very sure you do not remember about subtractions, though you may have heard it before, but it is not very commonly used. So the first fact which I want to discuss with you, from the previous problem, you remember 700 was the bigger number. Now this 700 we always write at the top because it is bigger. Now any big number which we write at the top from where it is going to be subtracted is known as a minuend. Okay, and it is always written at the top. And the next one, the one which is written below, is known as a subtrahend. Okay, the number which we write below, which we have already seen. And the next fact is, when we get the answer, when we come to the answer, it is known as difference. Okay, so now the difference is nothing but the answer. Okay, and when I write all these three together, I will show you an example from the previous problem. We had solved the previous problem like this, and the 700 becomes my minuend, the next one becomes my subtrahend, and the last one, which is my answer, is known as the difference. Okay, now keeping this in mind, we are going to move forward to the next topic, which is about verifying our answers. Now we are going to verify our answers. Okay, so we will be adding the subtrahend and the difference to get the minuend. Okay, now My subtrahend in the previous question was 525. The difference which came was a 175. Okay, 175 was nothing but my answer. Now if I add these two, I should come back to my original minuend. Okay, so now in the question the minuend was 700. Okay, 700 and 525 is nothing but my subtrahend. Now these two, so I can see from the formula here that the subtrahend and the difference, if I add, I should get back my minuend, that will be 700. You can see the difference. Now let us try and do this. 525 is my subtrahend, which I write at the top. Okay, and we can see from the formula here that my difference needs to be written at the bottom. Now in this case my difference is 175, so I write my difference at the bottom. Adding these two, I should get back my original minuend. Okay, so when I add these two, I get 700, and we can see that this 700 is a minuend. Okay, and I have my minuend as 700, so both are the equal. So this verifies that what I have done is correct. Now this is how we are going to verify our answers. For today, I want you to focus on these questions. Okay, the first question for today is subtract the following and verify. So for this question, I want you to copy this table exactly into your notebooks, and once you solve, you will get an answer. Okay, now you will be verifying by filling in the empty boxes that you see. I'm going to leave this for you to understand what you need to fill in here. And the next question for today is find the difference of 56,310 and 89,521. And the second part for this is 9,28,562 and 12,340. I want you to find the difference for these numbers. And I hope you are enjoying these videos. Have a good day, all of you.